for organizing the webinar where we meet our grantees from east to west and north to south. MEG has awarded grants in 75 different countries over the past 40 years. It is with great joy we are celebrating our 40th anniversary. A great way you and anybody anywhere in the world can celebrate with us is by participating in our photo competition. All the information on the photo competition and the sponsor a seat for a virtual luncheon with our 465 grantees is on our web page. Visit mmeg.org/. Let us meet and learn about the difference MEG makes for some of our grantees.
Well, welcome everyone. We've got 12 fantastic women here out of the over 450 women, I think, who've been sponsored by MEG over the years. And this is the first time we're getting everyone together like this. Can you see me okay? Yes. Bridget and I are hosting. Here's Bridget. I'll introduce herself in a moment. We're lucky enough to be on the board of MEG. And I think we will, well, the way we're going to do the webinar is to ask each or several of our grantees to answer about 4 or 5 different questions. With that, let me pass it over to Bridget, and then we'll get straight into it.
Thank you. As Lawrence said, we've got 6 questions we're going to cluster the responses around. We will also have room for people to pose questions in the chat. However, given the energy that we've seen from our grantees who are participating, we fully expect to take up the full hour and perhaps go longer. So if we do, please feel free to drop off. That said, we can try to answer any questions you might have at the end. We would also like any grant recipients who are there in the audience to identify yourself in the chat so we can give you a shout out to our donors and friends and board members. And also, I think collectively, we'd like to send our best wishes to one participant who couldn't make it. It's Divya Karnak, who is in India and is suffering from COVID. So if you could take a minute and think of her, we'd appreciate it. But now let's jump into the questions. Lawrence?
Very good. Thank you, Bridget. Okay, let's kick it off at the beginning. How did you first hear about MEG? Let me go to Violet, please.
Thank you very much. I'm Violet Nanyu from Kenya. And I remember it was 2006, 2007. I was pursuing my doctoral studies at Indiana University, Bloomington. During that time, I was with my children and my husband, and I did not have a scholarship. So I used to teach in the Department of Sociology. So I would work under a professor and sometimes be given a lab to run with the students and a main instructor running the class. And it was very, very demanding because I had to do the housework. I had to do my own schoolwork and then take care of the students' needs. So what used to happen in Indiana when a grant like this would be floated, they would bring it to the attention of the students. And when I saw this and realized that it was looking for people from developing world, people who are interested in improving the lives of women and children, I just knew this was my thing. And I talked to my professor, Professor Bernice Pesco-Solido. She was wonderful, very supportive, and I went ahead and applied. And so that's how I heard about it. Actually, I heard about it through my school, and I really encourage that particular forum of sending out grants, because we trust the source, and also they immediately kick into action to see, prepare your statement, bring it to me, let me review it. So it was very supportive, and I was so glad that I got it, because then the work, mother, teacher role, the balance that was driving me nuts, MEG really helped me. We used to call it MMF that time, really helped me fix that. So I was so glad and so happy. That's how I heard about it. Over.
Thank you very much, Violet. What a great story. It's amazing, really, how our lives can change sometimes with just in a short time, in a second. Let me ask you the same question, Felicia. How did you first hear about Meg? Okay, if we, and I think Felicia might have had to step away. Let me go to Beatrice then. You're on mute, Beatrice. Okay, there you go.
Sorry, I didn't unmute myself. This is Felicia, sorry. I just realized I did not unmute myself before I started speaking.
Oh, okay, go ahead then, and then we'll come.
All right, so thank you very much for this opportunity. And I'm Felicia Jamesi. I'm currently a lecturer at the University of Cape Coast, Ghana. So in 2016, I moved from Ghana to South Africa, University of Pretoria, to study for my PhD. And when I was going, I had a little baby who was still breastfeeding. So, and a daughter who was around 5 years. So I had to go with them. And so my husband had to resign from his job so that he could accompany me to help take care of the baby. And so even though my university was providing some stipend and paying for the fees, there was a lot of money, the need for money to help with other things. So just as Violet said, our university brought up this email to us. And when I looked through it, and I really realized that, no, I mean, God could use this opportunity. How I got to know about it, my university sent the email about the sponsorship, and I actually tried it and I got it.
Thank you, Felicia. Let me go back to you, Beatrice, please. Same question.
Hi, everyone. In my case, at my university, we received information about Margaret McNamara education grants every year at the beginning of the year. So I decided to present my postulation in 2019. My university, the Pontificia Universidad Católica of Peru, is the most antique private education center in my country, is the most renowned, but is also the most expensive. So the Margaret McNamara Education Grant is a unique opportunity to study there. For me, the most important thing of this scholarship is that offer help to support you for your previous commitment, for your previous job, despite your age, despite your family arrangements, or despite your family condition. It supports you because your, how you say, personal trajectory, personal work, personal commitment. And I think that's strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Beatrice. Lovely to hear that. And finally, let me pass it to Esther, again, with this first initial question. How did you hear about Meg?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I'm Esther Chigumira, 2013 grantee. I'm based here in Harare, Zimbabwe. I think to speak about the McNamara grant, I have to go back to when I first got my scholarship to go to the US. And that was in 2008 when I became a Fulbright grantee. But I was told by the US Embassy that it was a 2-year grant, and after 2 years, you had to make a plan. So I was very intentional about looking for scholarships before I left Zimbabwe. And I've spent quite a bit of time at the US Education Advisory Center here in Harare in Zimbabwe. And I looked through the fellowship grants, and none of them actually would support Zimbabweans, because at that stage, Zimbabwe was kind of a pariah state, and therefore very few scholarships were available, except for the Margaret McNamara. So I wrote it down in my book, and I said, right, when the time is right, because this is when you are really in your doctoral writing stage, that you can use this grant. So I had it in my book for 3 years, and always looking to see when it was being advertised. The graduate school at the University of Oregon did not actually have the Margaret McNamara grant in its radar, but I had it in my little book. So thanks to the US Embassy, where they have a whole load of in their little books about what grants you can go for. So I found it there, and it really did help me transition, especially from the Fulbright to then helping me complete my doctoral studies. And as I was trying to remember how this all happened, I was actually looking at the emails that were sent. And I remember sending an email asking if I was eligible, because I was in the field, but I was just about to finish. So it is such a pleasure, years onwards, to be able to say I'm a MEG grantee. Over to you, Lawrence.
Thank you, Esther. What a totally cool story. We have to get in touch with the University of Oregon and make sure they update their marketing material. But thank you. I love that, the story of the little book. Okay, over to Bridget.
Okay, I've got question number 2. And it takes me back to my own life when I was in graduate school over a long period of time. I was given some assistance, and that assistance allowed me to attend every one of the field trips of my daughter's nursery school class. So we pose this question to you guys. How did you use the MEG grant, and what difference did it make to you? Let's start with Kelly. Kelly, if you could unmute.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way,
I'm here.
Would you introduce yourself, please? Introduce yourself.
Yes. Well, my name. Good morning and good afternoon to all. My name is Kelly Alfaro. I'm born in the Andes of Peru. The city where I was born is called Cajamarca. I was grantee in 2017 to continue my studies at Pontifical Catholic University of Peru. No? My mastery in environmental. Well, the question, the scholarship helped me decide the use of my time to take care of my little son, Amaru, and of course to be able to work in my thesis that precisely focused on valuing through economic tools the contribution of the ecosystem service to the well-being of the families of an agrarian cooperative of workers in Cajamarca. And also I applied time use tools in order to know the use of women's time in activities of caring for their families and caring for the nature. Curiously, they are the women who dedicate their time to conserve and maintain water gutters and nature. It was a time, a great time for me, and like a mother and study, because I discovered or rediscovered the importance of caring, caring my children, my child, Amaru, and care the nature, or Pachamama, as well Quechua people call it, Pachamama. It was a great time, and thank you for the opportunity, McNamara. Thanks.
Thank you, Kelly. That was lovely. Thank you. Next up is Felicia again. Felicia, what difference did the MEG grant make to you? And please introduce yourself. Thank you.
So, Felicia Jamesi, and I'm currently a lecturer at the University of Cape Coast, Ghana, and teaching early childhood courses. I'm involved in training teachers for the kindergarten and then the basic school. And so when I started the PhD, like I said, my university was paying for my tuition and giving me stipend. but I went with my family, so there has to be a way of taking care of the family, and also doing my field study, because I wanted to work on indigenous play and see how we can actually promote its use in our curriculum. And so it was very important that I did a study right in Ghana, even though I was studying in South Africa. And so the grant that was gave me the opportunity to come back to Ghana. I was able to travel with my son because he was still a baby. I couldn't leave him there. So that enabled me to come. I wanted him to breastfeed until he's 2 years. So that made it possible that I could travel back with him to Ghana to do the data collection. And in my study, I used solely kindergarten teachers, and they were all women. It wasn't deliberate, but because they were the ones teaching in the kindergarten, we didn't have teachers. We didn't have male teachers in that teaching at that level. So there were only females, and we did this study capacity building because there was a report that the teachers were struggling to use play to teach. So with this capacity building, we now have I still have this network with the teachers that we still check up on each other from time to time, even to the extent that we are able to help each other when they have any personal issues. So, and then I also was able to go to Russia to present my study in Russia in a PhD of conference for students who were using the cultural historical theory. And in that conference, I met a lot of people, and my presentation, after everything, one of the organizers actually invited me to publish my study in a journal in Australia, Monash University. So I was able to do all of these things with the help of the grants that was given to me. And then also, I've been able to form a lot of networks because of the participation in that conference and other conferences where I presented my paper. And right now, from my study, I've been able to publish a book chapter, an article in a peer-reviewed journal, and then the third one is already with the journal. And I'm still working on indigenous play, how we can actually train teachers to be able to make the best use of it. So this grant was such a relief, and it was such a blessing, and I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Felicia. I love the fact that the first two answers are focusing on children, because that, of course, is one of our priorities with the grant. Larissa, do unmute and tell us what you learned at Cornell University that you're bringing.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Greetings from Sarajevo. My name is Larissa Kasumagic-Kafedzic, and currently I am an associate professor at the University of Sarajevo at the Department of English Language and Literature, more specifically teacher education programs. So I also work with prospective teachers of languages and culture. So I prepare future teachers of languages in order to incorporate into their approaches and methods the elements of peace values and the elements of intercultural learning and the elements of language and culture pedagogy, which I learned back at School of Cornell many years ago, thanks to, amongst other donors and sponsors, to Margaret McNamara grant. So I was a recipient of the grant back in 2003, 2004, when I was attending the master's program at Cornell University. Prior to that, I lived for a year and attended a professional development program supported also by the US government, which was a Hubert Humphrey Fellowship Program. But this was more focused on professional development activities that combine practice work with academic work. So after which, after that particular immersion into something which was very invaluable, I continued with my master's program in the field of education, with particular focus on post-war healing and recovery of children and youth that I used to work with prior to coming to the United States. Because for almost 7 or 8 years before I came to the United States, I worked under the umbrella of a local NGO that I also helped co-found and helped develop. And the activities in that program particularly focused on psychosocial work of children and youth. So we worked with children and their families who had been forcibly displaced from different parts of Bosnia and were in need of psychosocial support. So to be back to the receiving of the grant and what difference did it make in my life, I tried to combine the experience that I have gained as a young teenager and as a young activist back in my country with some new horizons and some new professional fields and some new, I would say, very challenging and very critical pedagogical tools and theories that inspired me to this day, today, that I'm still using and incorporating in my work, in my professional activities with my students. I try to do the same what the program for my students, what the program did for me. And that is really to get inspired and to be on track of incorporating values education into the teaching of a very specific subject that I focus on. So this would be, in short, I feel very grateful for that period of the time, because this was also for the first time that I felt a student again, because I studied right after the war back in 1996, when the peace agreement was signed in my country. And I studied in a building which was completely ruined without any glasses in classrooms. And this was my undergraduate program back in Sarajevo. So coming to Cornell and coming to, meeting new teachers, new colleagues, new professors, being in a place like Ithaca and Cornell was really life-changing experience for me. So up to this day, I feel very grateful, and I'm very thankful for this opportunity. So thanks to everyone, and looking forward to other contributors' comments and discussions.
Thank you, Larissa. Thank you. And a little advertising note, I would tell all, anybody in the audience, if you want to know more about any of the presenters here today, their bios are on our website under the 40th anniversary tab. Nuning, you, I think, are going to weigh in from Thailand.
Indonesia.
Sorry. Please go ahead.
Yes, hi. My name is Nuning Purwaningrum, but then I put Halep here, my husband's name. I received the grant 2011. Actually, I received a 30th anniversary. And I think that was the time that MEG distribute like 11 grants instead of 10, like you saw. So I see Charlotte here. Hello, Charlotte. It's nice to see you here. Thank you for coming. Yeah, she was a host for us during that time. So it's a long time ago, but it was really helpful because I came to the United States for a PhD program with Fulbright scholarship, which only worked for 3 years. I knew that for the 4th year and 5th year, I had to find something else, either working or another grant. Unfortunately, I have J1 visa, which is very limited. I couldn't work anywhere instead of campus. And then I had 3 kids. I was 38, the oldest student at that time. And I had 3 kids, and it's almost impossible. And then when I received this MEG grant, it was really helpful because it's not only funny for the 4th year, but also at the same time, it's it's really funny. I used that letter from MEG that I received this award for a certain amount of money to extend my visa. Because, yeah, you need that financial backup. So it was like great. So it allowed me to complete my 4th year. And of course, I studied in gender studies for PhD program. But then when I returned to Indonesia, I worked in a completely different field. However, the most valuable experience during 3 days in Washington, D.C. is because at the time, Dominic introduced me and brought me to the social section of the World Bank and introduced me into the work that they have there. And it inspired me to do something else in the social field. So probably we will talk more about this in another question. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Nuneen. I love the visa story. That's a new one for us. Congratulations. Lauren?
Okay, all right. Let's move on to our next question. Let me pass it to you first. Kelly, can you tell us a little about what you're doing now, and also how the make supported education contribute to what you're doing now? Kelly, over to you, please.
Yes. First, thanks Margaret McNamara scholarship make me activist about ecofeminism, consider it more important for me and my community. McNamara also supports women without age limits, and that is inspiring. Now I work on issues related to gender and environmental. I have been fortunate, really, because I have the opportunity for investigate, study, and propose at public policy level how it is possible to mainstream the gender approach in climate change in Peru, for example. No? In particular, the NDCs. I also had the opportunity to do a study on water, gender, and climate change in Latin America and Caribbean for ECLAC. ECLAC is a very important institution in my professional branch. The scholarship was a before and after in my self-experience. The importance of parenting with my son and McNamara allowed my study time where care was the really important, the care of my son and study and the nature. No? From there, it was the care of nature and the economy of care that culturally we assume, woman assume, no? Give my professional work, and for that, really thanks very much for the opportunity, McNamara.
Thank you, Kelly. Oh my goodness, you're working on the issues of our time, gender and climate. Really, it's very, very encouraging and affirming to hear that. Let me pass the same question to you, Sumila, please.
Hello, good afternoon and good evening, everyone. My name is Sumila Guliani, and I'm a 1990 grantee. That was a very long time ago. I'm currently in Delhi in India, and I work with the World Bank on sustainable development. I'm the program leader for sustainable development. So we work on projects in water supply, in environment, urbanization, climate change, agriculture, all of those kinds of things. So if you look at what I'm doing now and where I started, there's a long distance and a big difference. That's because I started my career as a professional architect. I trained to be an architect in Delhi in India. And then I left in 1989 to go to the US to study and get a master's in architecture with a focus on low-income housing. When I got there, within a few weeks, my professors had explained to me that low-income housing is not a design problem. So I had to ask them, so what kind of problem is it? Why is it that architects can't solve it? And they said, it's a policy problem. But the way I had been trained in India, I had no clue what policy was. I was trained as a technocrat. I knew how to design and build buildings. So they suggested I sign up for another program at the same time called a Master's in City Planning. So I combined that with my architecture studies. And that's where I learned about policy and development, economic development. I loved it. I went on to get my PhD in economic development and all of that. And it's now been 30 years of working in economic development, policy, practice, and research. It's been just wonderful. I've had an opportunity to work in 40 countries in 7 regions of the world. And it's just after a very long time, actually, I came back to India after 28 years, a couple of years ago. And this assignment will come to an end in a little while, but it's been a wonderful ride. So McNamara Foundation grant helped me finance part of my second year of studies and that transition that I just explained. Thank you.
Thank you, Sumila. What a wonderful story, and what a wonderful way to evolve as well. I think we all need to be flexible these days, and that story illustrates it perfectly. Risila, let me pass it to you. You're calling in from Switzerland, is that right? Priscilla, are you there? Risila, can you hear us?
Priscilla or Priscilla?
No, Risila.
That's me.
Yes, that's you. Yes.
Yes, thank you, Lawrence. My name is Resila Onyango. I come from Kenya, and I'm a 2016 grantee. I pursued my PhD in criminal justice at the Graduate Center and City University, John Jay College of Criminal Justice at the City University of New York. And I work currently with Interpol as a criminal intelligence officer. And the way the scholarship, the MMEG informed my work currently is that it equipped me with a PhD. I completed my PhD in a very timed framework and came back to Kenya because I wanted to make a difference in my country. And so I am involved in research at Interpol. I'm a criminal intelligence officer in charge of 7 countries in Africa here, Kenya and Uganda, Tanzania, South Africa. We have Namibia, Rwanda, and Ethiopia, conducting research about online child sexual abuse and physical abuse of children sexually in this region. And apart from that, I'm involved in research which I've just completed about gender issues of women in policing. And that study I was given the permission by the Deputy Inspector General of Police in Kenya, and I've conducted it in collaboration with a colleague, Professor Mangai Natarajan from the John Jay College of Criminal Justice, who was my professor there. And I've handed over the report to the Deputy Inspector General of the Kenya Police to inform policy about the role of police women in the country. And apart from that, I involved in training. I have been training for the Eastern African Standby Force, and that is under the African Union. And my focus is also on gender issues and gender diversity in peace support operations. And we've been doing that for quite some time as accredited certified trainer. And I've also taught just to share knowledge with our students in Kenya, because I believe I got such a wonderful privilege to go and study criminal justice in the US, where criminal justice is already very advanced. It's a budding field in Kenya here. So it has been wonderful for me for 1 year teaching at the United States International University Africa, teaching criminal justice. And I've done that one now, and also with the Drexel University in the US. I've been able to spearhead the collaboration between one of the universities in Kenya, that is St. Paul's University, and Drexel University in the US, to have joint classes. And even this afternoon, I was giving a talk to that joint class. Thank you.
Goodness, Priscilla, you're a busy lady. That's so impressive, and so great that you're teaching the next generation already. Thank you, and good luck with that work to address online abuse of children. I mean, just a terrible situation we have there. So thank you for pursuing that. Let me pass it to Nuning, please. Back to you, Nuning, in Indonesia.
Thank you. My background is actually from gender studies. My master and my PhD are both in gender studies. I studied migration and diaspora. Yes, I'm still using that knowledge, consulting the government. Even I put several policy and international legislation planning for free. However, my professional work now is I'm working as a vice president in one of the biggest P2P lending or financial technology in Southeast Asia. Probably everyone knows that now we are in the migrating world from conventional to digital, and everything is digitalized. Even bank now is transforming into new bank, and so does the financial technology now is almost as big as the bank. Yes, this kind of a world actually dominated by people in the mid-30s and below, millennial, and I'm a colonial. I mean, yeah, I'm 50 years old. However, what's interesting here is because with my background as a gender studies graduate, and with my generation, I'm still be able serving this financial technology because they serve the underbanked. If you look into this kind of a world that bank cannot serve many people, and mostly they are like the underbanked, maybe 60% of them, even more, including in Indonesia. So these people, when they want to expand their business, when they want to do anything more, it's difficult because they don't have enough credential to make a loan or to increase their capital to the bank. So here comes the financial technology. But my work mostly serving the workers. So since beginning, actually, I work to serve the worker, which is underbanked. They have income. However, the income is very limited, that they cannot even have a credit card or even borrowing the money. So we give them the loan facilities up to 3 times salary to improve their lives. And before, actually, in 2015, I co-founded a company, a social enterprise, serving these workers. Me, actually, with other American graduates from Thunderbird, we create this kind of employee benefits program. We profit, but at the same time, we do the social work. We make a partnership with labor-intensive company like Nike, Adidas, and big brands, which has like tens of thousands of workers in one vicinity. So most of them are middle school graduates. Indonesia itself is 59% comprised of middle school lower graduates. So this is a big challenge for everybody, including for the workers. They stuck in this kind of assembly line. So we were thinking that, hey, we want to, at least you just can have like future, you have hope, you have like tomorrow, like better life, even for your kids. So what we do is actually, we create a partnership with institutions. We back up the finance of GED training. So some of them can have like high school equal certificate. And some of them actually went to weekend school for college. Then my company take role in financing them upfront, so they can paying in installment with their salary. So even though within the same salary, with a limited salary, but their capacities and their life is improving. We still keep doing this work with my current company, and since 2015 until today, we serve like 550,000 workers. Of course, with 280 million Indonesian population is a very small amount, but at least that is what we can do right now. So yes, that is what I do. Thank you,
Yuning. That's totally inspiring. Fantastic. Let me go to Kefilwe. Kefilwe, can you tell us a little about what you're doing now?
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
My name is Kefilwe Sello. I'm from Lesotho. I just completed my PhD with the University of Cape Town, where I was doing environmental humanities. I was particularly looking at water commodification in Lesotho and how it affects women in particular, given climate change and many other things. Anyway, how the Margaret McNamara helped me get to where I am. The year is 2012. I've just completed my honors with the University of Cape Town. I even owe fees because the government could not pay for me to do my honors after paying for my undergraduate degree. I'm stuck, and I come across the World Bank Margaret McNamara grant. So I'm hesitant to apply because I'm thinking that perhaps they're going to ask me to be a certain age or to be South African or to be, and that doesn't happen. And I get a chance to pursue my master's degree in social anthropology, where I was working on how technology affects women and how women in Lesotho particularly were now using technology to navigate and negotiate certain things. I mean, there are cultures, there are norms that were able to negotiate differently because of the use of technology. I was looking particularly at the use of cell phones. One of the interesting things that happened in my research was that I learned that women were now able to negotiate their own bohadi. Bohadi is bride price. They would be able to negotiate that using cell phones, whereas naturally they wouldn't be able to be part of the negotiations about their own value. So the study was very interesting because it brought out the many myths that our culture had ensued around women. Like there were many women were not able to be themselves just because of certain cultures and norms. But when you have a cell phone, when you have a laptop, you are now able to extend your personhood beyond the norms that would normally stop you from being. So with the grant, I was able to pursue that. And the nice thing that came also was that post being a grantee. Oh, hello, Elna. I wanted to say hello to Elna. Oh my God. Post that being a grantee in 2012, I was able to get other grants because of the MMF itself. I remember when I applied for Wenegran Foundation, they were very excited to hear that I was a Margaret McNamara grantee. So it really not only helped me to get a master's degree, but it also made sure that I got to do a PhD with Wenegran and many other things. Like when I went to United Nations to learn about United Nations systems and whatnot, when I mentioned that I was a Margaret McNamara grantee, it was an exciting time for everyone because I think they are Margaret McNamara is relevant. Women and children will always be vulnerable somehow, and until every voice is represented of a woman, of a child, there's always a need to voice it out, So Margaret McNamara is that, and it gives us women at their grassroots the opportunity to say our little voices. And when I say my voice, I talk to other 20 women through my work, and they're able to resound through my work. I don't know if I'm making sense, but that's what it did to me. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Kefiliwe. That's beautifully explained, and just the leverage that Meg has and has given you, so and given everyone on this call. Let me pass it back to Bridget.
In 1973, this group called The Faces came out with a song called Ooh La La, and there's a line in the song that's always resonated with me, which goes, "I wish I knew what I knew now when I was younger." So here's my favorite question. From where you are now, what advice would you give yourself before you embarked on your career in higher education? Now, starting off with this, we're going to ask Violet, please, to unmute.
Thank you. Yeah, I realized I didn't introduce myself properly at the beginning. My name is Violet Nanyu. I work for Moi University. It's a university on the western side of Kenya towards Uganda. I'm a medical sociologist, come bioethics in training. And I got my grant in 2007. So it really sorted me out 2007, 2008 period. And currently I'm living in Nairobi, Kenya. I'm coordinating one of the Moi University programs in Nairobi. Now, the advice I would give myself before I embark on to higher education, I have 3 points that are related. The first one, I would say, put your best foot forward. When I reported to Indiana University Bloomington, I was very, very shy. I was not confident at all. I thought I was the weakest in the class. I used to wait until the professor insisted that those who haven't spoken say something. Literally, the professor is looking me straight in the eye so that I could, speak up. I don't know. I just felt just at the bottom. But with time, I made friends at the university, especially in my department. There was a lady, we became friends. She had a child who was about the same age as one of my daughters. So the advice I would give here is be open to goodwill, expect it from all kinds of corners. I never thought about this grant. I didn't even know it would come my way. And all the support I got from faculty there. Do your best, do your bit, and good karma will find you and follow you. Just stand tall, chin up, be confident, and do the best that you can, and others will support you. There will be help, it will come. And sometimes it will come from unexpected corners. Now, the second thing I wish I had thought of at that time and taken seriously was learning early how to do what in Kenya, in my University College of Health Sciences, we call it SDL, self-directed learning. You know, you come from, in the Kenyan institutions, we were so used to being spoon-fed, literally. The professor comes, gives a lot of, talks and lectures, and you're almost sure the exam will resonate with what, almost paragraph by paragraph with what the professor said. So we had learned to just suck in. We used to look at the professor as a source of knowledge, as everything, So you didn't really need to go to the library to look for additional information or find a journal here and there. And also during my time, I'm old school like my colleague there from Peru. The computers for us were not that easily available in undergraduate. That's the other thing. So we would rely on the professor as a source of all the knowledge. So this is the other thing, the other advice I would give myself. It's learn early. This is graduate school. Learn early to do self-directed learning, read and keep growing, especially in the areas that you wish to understand more and to expand on, and the areas you think you can add value, because you need to leave a mark on this earth. A PhD is about adding a dot to a much bigger white surface. So what dot are you adding there? How are you going to know about it if you don't read? So self-directed learning, I wish I had thought about that earlier. The third and last thing, be available to others as you're growing, and reach out to create also and maintain a supportive community for yourself from the faculty, but also from the class. For me, because initially I was very shy, and I used to run to class, finish the class, and just run back to home because I had children. I didn't cultivate relationships early, and I wish I had done that earlier. So I would be more available to other people who are looking up to me, whether they were in Kenya or younger faculty or younger African students that I had met in Bloomington, and also open up my wings, and not shy away from showing my weakness so that I can gain from support that will be there. Just asking for help and believing in myself. And like I said, walking with my chin up. Those are the three things that come to mind. Over.
Thank you very, very much. Your 6 children have a great role model in you, I think. I think they're going to get lots of good advice from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Vanessa, what's your take on what you would have told yourself?
Thank you, Bridget. I will introduce myself. I am Vanessa Carreon. I was a grantee in the year 2014. I got a PhD in economics at Virginia Tech. Now I'm back in Ecuador. I am assistant professor at a university here, Universidad de las Americas. I think that graduate school is such a complete experience that I would tell to anybody that is going to start this journey that, of course, it is important to be disciplined. It is important to study long hours, but it's also important to remember that graduate school is more than just a degree. For me, as I said before, it was such a complete experience. It made me a better person. I was able to meet people from around the world, many of whom I did not agree with, but I learned some conflict resolution skills that now I am really useful to my everyday life. I learned how to adapt quickly to new situations. It's also very important in life. And complementing what Violet said, do not isolate yourself. Spend time meeting people, learning about other cultures, other religions. Graduate school can be such a enriching experience, and you have to live it to the fullest. You will find a lot of kind people, is what happened to me. I met so many, kindness was everywhere. So that was wonderful. Don't close your eyes to that. That would be my advice.
That's wonderful advice, and congratulations on being a Hokie. So we can. That's your mascot, right?
Yes.
All right, let's go to another question, which is somewhat related, actually. And this question is, what lessons have you learned in your work about how to make a difference? We're a little short on time, so I'm going to suggest we. Sorry. Yeah. So I'm going to suggest that we just each identify just one lesson, so that we don't speak for more than 2 or 3 minutes. So actually, Vanessa, you're the first on this as well. So lessons in your work about how to make a difference. Over to you, please, Vanessa.
Sure. I think that all the time we are complaining about others that should change so the world would be a better place. And the world is what it is, and the life is what it is, and the difference between those that are happy and those that are not is the approach to the world. So, and not is how you approach to the world, not what you expect from the world. So we should focus on what we can do and not blaming others for things that are not right. I think you can generate change no matter what you do in life or what is your profession. You don't need to be the president or the minister to do something. And you can be a really good mentor. You can also be a really good role model for other people. At least for me, I have found that the way I can make or generate some change is through teaching. For me, it's so important and transmit many things that, young people don't know. So I think I can generate change from that corner. And I really like this quote from Gandhi: "Be the change you want to see in the world." So don't wait.
Thank you, Vanessa. Oh my goodness, you're totally inspiring. Wonderful. Thank you. Sumila, let me pass it to you, please.
Thank you, Lawrence. So 3 quick points. It will be under 2 minutes. I work in development, and what we try to do is create solutions to wicked problems and try to get governments to adopt them and get us, for example, universal sanitation, universal vaccination. So 3 things that I found work really well. The first is if you can combine in developing your solutions theory and practice, research and practice, as opposed to keeping them 2 separately, you can create better solutions and you can appeal to policymakers better. The second thing I would say is, unlike in academia, don't worry about ownership of your ideas. So in academia, we want to claim authorship of an idea. In development, we want to give away authorship of the idea. So you succeed when governments and clients and your partners take your ideas, modify them, own them, and start to implement them. So success is in giving away and getting others to own your ideas. And the third is, a couple of you mentioned this, to make a difference, it's very hard to achieve an impact alone as an individual. You need to have teams, you need to have networks, and you need to have partners. So several people mentioned, don't isolate yourself. So when I was younger, and when many of you were younger, you thought, let me just shut the door, get out the best product I can, and then everybody will recognize this work and it'll be a success. It won't be. You need teams and networks and partners to make that idea bigger and better, take it out, sell it, and implement it. So invest in those instead of just doing your best work alone as an individual. Invest in that network. Let me stop there. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Sumila. Pelin, I hope we're noting all these down, because I think we should circulate these lessons afterwards. They're just great. Let me pass it to you, Risila. And Risila, I apologize. I thought I suggested you might be in Switzerland because I was thinking about Interpol, but I hadn't internalized you were in Nairobi. My apologies. But back to you.
It's okay, Lawrence. Thanks, Lawrence. Yeah, I'm at the Interpol Regional Bureau for East Africa. It's based in Nairobi. So my lessons are beginning with the fact that I work in a male-dominated environment as a police officer and a policewoman in Kenya Police Service. I learned to depend on my competency in order to get through my career life. I believe this is what policewomen should do in this country. Competency, make use. I joined when I was already a graduate with my first degree from Moy University, where Violet is teaching. But then from that, I decided it's not the end. I went and have made a difference for myself and for many policewomen and young girls in this country, because I've become the first woman in this country, the police service, to hold a PhD in the history of the Kenya Police Service. So it is, to me, a difference that I believe will influence other girls in this country to join the police and not to look at the police as a career for academic failures, so that if they are thinking of reforming the Kenya Police or making a difference, we'll have to get selection right, good quality of people joining the police. And secondly, my lesson, I've also learned that I can influence policy, particularly issues that surround gender issues of women and crimes against children. So through policy, informing the policy, and I do this. And as I've already mentioned, I began with research, and to me that is helpful, that I can be able to make a report that is presentable to the Inspector General of Police or the Deputy Inspector General of Police. And my hope is that they will consider, and it will help the policewomen, their work to be much better. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Risila. And I'm sure in future, other people will be presenting reports to you so that you're making the decisions and making the policies. So let me pass it to Kefilwe. Kefilwe. I've struggled with pronunciation, Kefilwe. Please educate me.
Kefilwe.
Kefilwe. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Lessons, please.
I'll just give one. And it's simple. Give a chance. Give a chance, because you don't know how that one chance will work out. It might just resound to eternity. Give somebody a chance. That's it. Give a chance. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. Beautiful. Beautiful. Love it. And I think it's one of those things, it's a bit like, what do they say, the quality of mercy. It makes the person feel good, and it makes you feel good when you give somebody a chance. Yeah, love it. Thank you. Kanyisile, over to you, please. Kanyisile, I think this is the first time you've spoken, yes?
Yes, Lawrence.
Yes. So
Greetings, everyone. Thank you so much. I love how my fellow grantees have actually touched up on most of the points that I was actually going to raise on what I have learned so far in my work and how to make a difference. My name is Kanye Sidiokwadi. I'm a 2016 grantee from South Africa, and currently I'm employed at Emory University as a visiting scholar, and will transition into a postdoc when I get my PhD results, which I'm waiting for right now. And I'm doing research on HIV and TB co-infection. So when you talk about the lessons I've learned, the one that I want to touch up mostly about is leadership, how crucial it is for leadership. I love how MEG is promoting the leadership when it comes to women. That's really big, because with leadership, it helps you, place you in a platform where you can actually inspire others, you can influence others, you are able to make change. People, if you carry yourself exemplary and you've got integrity and your work is trustworthy, it's easier for people to get motivated by you and to go for their dreams and to actually reach out and trust. And also, like Sumila said, sorry, she should say that. She talked about the importance of networking and collaboration, which is what I learned in my field. We need that a lot because most of the places like women are underrepresented, especially in the STEM field. So the more women leadership we have, the better, because we make the world a better place. And I always encourage people. What I learned in my job is always advocate for things you believe in, for causes that you care in. In my capacity, while I was still a PhD student, I thought maybe I could not make change until maybe I get that breakthrough, find the cure for HIV, which is my long-term goal, and then that's how I'll be able to make a difference in other people's lives. No, you can still make a difference while you are still on a journey to achieving your ultimate goal and your qualification. And leadership is not a title. Leadership is character. It's teaching, it's learning, it's observation. And because of that, I want people to be able to go for their dreams. I want them to be able to go for their dreams, to reach for it. I was able during my capacity, I was able to be involved in the training of the next generation of scientists.
Sorry, just a moment, Kanye Sidiokwadi. Somebody needs to mute, please. Okay, sorry, carry on, Kanye Sidiokwadi. Sorry about that. What? No, you're on mute yourself now. Kanye Sidiokwadi, can you?
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Okay.
That's fine.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Sorry.
Sorry about that. So as I was saying, through my PhD journey, thanks to the help with the funding from MEG and other funders, I was able to focus on courses that I care about. I was able to tutor and teach high school students from disadvantaged backgrounds. I've been able to have the opportunity to teach university students to impact their lives. I've been able to promote other women. It's like we promote that you should lift as you rise, something that other grantees have already touched up on. We need to help each other build. We need to share opportunities. And if you need training, for instance, like for your field or your specialty, you need to seize opportunities that come your way, and you also have to look, which is something which most of the grantees are touched up on. So in overall, my career is going to be in academia because I love how academia, like as a researcher in academia, can combine my research, my community work, which my outreach, which I enjoy, and also teaching. So this combination are the way that I am using to help change and make a difference. So I want to continue doing that, and I'm grateful that I have been able to reach out like hundreds of students so far, and they look up to me. I hope I keep on becoming a proper role model, because ultimately I look at the profiles of most of the MEG grantees and the work they're doing is impeccable. So in the future, I want to become one. I want to become like them. That's
I'm sure you will, Kanye Sidiokwadi. Thank you very much. Let me pass it to Larissa, please, on the same question about lessons.
Okay, thank you. So I'll take it over from Kanye. Speaking of dreams, so I'd like to start off by just saying, do not be afraid to have big dreams. So dream is a very important on the journey, but at the same time, within that dream, try to be very specific with your goals, with objectives. Surround yourself with people, with caring people. Give yourself empathy. Have tons of empathy for yourself, for all the hardships that you will encounter along the way. Know how to listen and know how to be in other people's shoes. So this is also something that I've learned. Be globally connected, but try to implement change in your local community. So just like what we are creating here, a global community of like-minded leaders, people who have not achieved these positions very easily, but really sacrificed a lot of things along the way in order to do good things for their communities, for their families, for the places and countries where they live. So this is very important. Do not isolate yourself. So surround yourself internationally with people who will inspire you, who you will inspire. And lastly, just one little thing that I learned along the way. Culturally, it is very inappropriate and socially unacceptable for women to show anger. And this is, I'm not sure if this is applicable in the communities where you come from, but it is absolutely something that is very much the case in the community where I live. But anger is something that could help us. This is what I learned through my nonviolence and peace work. Anger is an indicator that there are a lot of injustices. So there are things to be changed. So listen to your anger and try to transform your anger creatively for the good purposes. So this is the last thing that I've learned along the way to contribute to change in my community. And thank you again, everyone, for sharing all these inspiring stories. It was really lovely to see everyone. Thanks a lot for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Larissa. Super thought-provoking. Thank you. Okay, I'm passing it back to Bridget now for our final about 3 minutes, I think.
What you guys can't see is Lawrence and I sitting here nodding at all of your lessons. They were terrific. Thank you so much. Our final question comes from a lot of discussion we had in some of the pre-meetings, and we are looking for your feedback, and that is what MEG can do better to promote networks among grant recipients. Starting off with this one, we'd like Kanisile, if you could unmute yourself and opine.
Okay. When it comes to the network, thanks again. Like we discussed before, the mere fact that I love how the MEG grantees is like a diverse group, like economic, social, STEM field. So the idea is I would like us to network some more so that we can be able to work together, like encourage, like for instance, now thanks to Zoom, the pandemic, it made us go virtual, but the advantage about it is now to be easier for actually us grantees to actually meet up, have maybe like an annual meeting where the grantees get to know each other, where we can discuss and find out what other people's work are doing and what are they up to, so that they're collaborating. Like if I need help with someone in a different field, then I already have a network of people that I know that I can reach out to. So far, Margaret has done an excellent job identifying exceptional women. So now I think it's a matter of us getting to know each other, even including like how we've got a grantee from 1990. And then like we do follow us, and then we keep up with the amazing work that everyone is doing, like maybe have a platform where the grantees can actually post what they are up to. Thank you.
Thank you very much, very useful. Esther, what is your view on this topic?
Thanks very much, Bridget. I was actually reading prior to this a book by Shirley Achambeau, and she talks about unapologetically ambitious. And I just thought, let me just read a little sentence which kind of highlights what everyone has been saying. She says towards the end of her book about networking, as you plan and execute on your career goals, people are your secret weapon. You are not walking through the world. You are not walking through this world alone. And I can't say this enough. People want to help you succeed. Share your ambitions and your experiences with others, and you will reap the rewards. And this is exactly kind of what has been coming through from the conversations. And so I thought, well, there's this platform. This is really great. I'm beginning to meet people through LinkedIn, which is really great. A few years ago, I didn't use my LinkedIn very well to meet with other MEG grantees. And then I started thinking, how do other people work it? It would be great. We're all in different fields. Some of them intersect. And I thought of the Georgetown leadership course that runs, I think they have this annually, where they bring in leaders from across the globe and bring in different people to talk about real issues, things that need to be changed. And I think listening to everyone here has a story, everyone has made an impact, and there are areas that can help those who are in their mid-career, early career grow. And I think it will be really a good thing every 2-3 years where the MEG can put in real leaders. For example, there is the World Bank, and you've got great leaders, past presidents, who could actually be brought in to a specific series focusing on specific issues. And I think that is where we can continue to make impact and where we can continue to build that network. So this really was one of the key areas that I was thinking. But we already have the platforms through LinkedIn that can help us continue to talk. And then it's really up to you to realize that we've got this group of wonderful women who are just an amazing asset to just say, hey, you know what? Could I have an advice on this? So yeah, over to you, and thank you.
Thank you very much. I think a lot of it's organic, but as for the idea of having a platform where we can try to organize it is always also very important. Finally, Beatrice, what is your view on how we can network better?
Hi, I think that I miss that we have a digital platform or something like that, a browser to search grantees of different years with the same field of education. For example, in my case is law. I am pursuing a PhD in law. My thesis is in family law. And I think that it's important to could have information about previous grantees that could allow us to find women of our same country. In my case, Peru, for example. In this case, I have someone of my country who is I miss the name. Kelly Alfaro, for example. So I think it's important to know each other. I think this is great. And I think that a browser, a digital platform, it's like a space to share our actual projects now, join efforts in order to achieve Larissa's recommendation. She said something like, you need to work globally connected, but in your community. So I think our Margaret McNamara Education Grant Network is like a globally a community of strong women, but we need to have more points to share our experience. So I think we could improve that. Thank you.
That was wonderful. It's absolutely true. You guys have a lot of connections among you, culturally, regionally, school-wise, and it provides a great opportunity for people to make more connections. That's really what it's going to be about. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. We're seeing that a lot of people made comments with suggestions in the chat. Palin has noted that we are keeping track of all of those. I think one suggestion may be that we do this annually. It's great to see you guys, and it's great to share your stories. It's been very inspiring. So on behalf of Margaret McNamara Education Grants, I want to thank the participants. I want to thank the donors, the grantees who are attending, the board members, Lawrence, and all of us. Say thank you very much for a wonderful event. Oh, Lawrence wants to speak.
No, I just want to say goodbye and a big thank you to everyone. And we hear you very much about the network. We will work out some ways to bring the network closer together. So thank you. Great event, great lessons, great stories. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.